I've heard 1,000 excuses for why people don't have the time to write things down. So why do we do it here at BOP? Well, let's dive into that today. Happy Monday, friends. Thomas Joyner with Business on Purpose here. Thanks so much for joining us. Want to just start out by talking that and really telling you that one of our core values here at Business on Purpose is write it down. Now, it has a ton of different applications, from writing down our vision to taking notes at team meetings, to documenting processes, and even just producing coaching notes from every meeting that we have with clients. The list of ways that we write things down, it's exhaustive. And yet we get pushback all the time from clients and key leaders about whether or not it's truly necessary. And all I can say, it absolutely is. If you don't believe me, well, 2 instances in the past week, not month, week, of when it's been worth it. Little backstory from the first instance. I was working with a contractor who was frustrated about the cash in their business. We were looking at their level 2 dashboard, and just a quick pause there. This is a simple tool that we use to, you guess it, write down the weekly cash position of the business. Now, in looking at the level 2 dashboard, his cash position was somewhere in the neighborhood of $450,000. He looked at me and he said, there's just so much pressure and so much fluctuation with paying vendors and subs and still not feeling like we have the buffer we need. So what I did was scroll back to the first week in January and just started laughing. Said, hey, if you look back at January, you only had $125,000 in cash in the bank to start the year. So that's a $300,000 improvement in cash over the first 8 months of 2023. Come on, that's an impressive amount of progress. The business owner just was blown away. He could see with his own 2 eyes the undeniable progress that if he hadn't recorded his numbers consistently, would have felt stuck and unsure of the growth of his business and just wondering, am I actually getting anywhere? But taking the time to write the numbers down and record them provided freedom, right? Freedom from the chaos in a refreshing way as he entered the fall to where he knew his pricing was sound, he knew his operations were leading to kind of a predictable profitability for the foreseeable future. And he doubled back down on continuing to record and write it all down. So if I were to ask you, hey, what's your tool for pulling up and knowing what was your cash position in January and what's your cash position today? Could you actually do it quickly, or would it take you an hour to figure it all out as you ran P&Ls and added and subtracted? No, you need a simple tool for this, something to record and write it down. Second story. I was working with an installer who was just super frustrated about some employee issues. He said, look, my guys just don't get it. We're so busy and just working so hard that they're constantly complaining about how hot it is and how they don't like what they're doing, and we just don't feel like a team right now. And so after listening to him talk for 20, 30 minutes or so, I scrolled back down through our coaching notes to look at what we were discussing this time a year ago. Sure enough, some of the same thoughts came out then too. It's a seasonal discussion every year in August. Guys are hot, they're tired, they're frustrated. Summer just takes its toll. But the good news is he saw that a couple weeks ahead, right, as it cooled off a little bit, there's an end to it. It's just a seasonal frustration. As we kept reading, we looked at the other thing we noticed, is that he had spent 2 to 3 coaching meetings talking about materials and pricing delays and just revisiting his estimates to make sure that he could hit his margins. We spent hours diving through that stuff, and it was a period in his business that was so exhausting as he never knew what was going to happen next. And he kind of looked at me after I finished and he laughed. He said, well, I'm glad I'm not fighting those battles anymore. We shared a laugh, right? It's perspective. It hits you right between the eyes when you look back and you often realize how far you've come in the battles you're no longer fighting. When you can kind of pull the plane up to 10,000 feet and just survey the landscape with clarity to give yourself some sanity in the midst of owning and running your business. So what do you need to commit to in a way to help yourself record and think and give clarity? Is it your cash position so that you can know your business is performing? Is it your vision for your business so that you can know where you're headed and make sure your team knows? Maybe it's just writing down and recording some systems and processes to ensure your team is set up to thrive in their job roles and they can be held accountable to a standard, and that if you're not there, they do it the way you would have done it. It's got to be written down. Maybe it's even just writing down your core values and your mission so that your team can know who you guys are trying to be as a business. You don't want them just winging it out there. And if somebody said, hey, who are you guys? No, you want them to have the ammunition to answer that with clarity and directness. Guys, it all matters, and it all adds clarity in the midst of chaos. That's the goal. But remember, it doesn't start big. It starts small. It starts small. So think of one thing to record each week and then build on it. Pick another one and another one. And with consistency over time, you will see clarity and you will start to understand your business unlike any other. And as always, if you need tools or you need accountability or somebody to walk alongside you, that's what we get excited to do every single day at Business on Purpose, and we'd love to help. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you write something down today. Hope you have a great day.